Hello, UCAR. Peter Christensen here, coming to you from the CEO's desk. Going to talk about a question I had the other day posed to me that I thought, it's a good question. It has to do with the buyer brokerage agency agreement. So you have this agreement with your buyer, and in Section 2, you can designate a brokerage fee. So the question that was asked was, if I plan on getting paid through the MLS, which you might hope will be the case, then what do I put in that blank? So that brought up a discussion about what really that blank represents. And the MLS has a system in it where brokerages can agree to pay other brokerages for bringing a buyer, right? A listing brokerage typically would agree to pay some sort of commission to a buyer's brokerage that brings a buyer and qualifies. So then what is this blank in the buyer-broker agreement? Well, this is a separate agreement. It's between a buyer and the buyer's brokerage. So buyer is hiring a brokerage to help sell or help them find a home to purchase. And this blank designates how much the brokerage expects to get paid. By whom? The buyer. And so really that's saying, hey, buyer, you agree to pay X amount if we help you find a home. Now, it does have language in there that says that it will be offset by any money received from a listing brokerage as a cooperative commission. And so oftentimes it's the case that there's enough there through the MLS system and a commission offered through the listing brokerage that the buyer's brokerage doesn't seek any money from the buyer. And so can you leave that blank was part of the question. Sure. Or better yet, to put a zero in there or not applicable rather than leave it blank. But do you have to put a monetary amount in there? No. But what it's saying is buyer's not obligated to pay anything if if buyer's agent finds a home for the buyer. And so then the buyer's brokerage becomes entirely reliant on some sort of cooperative commission being offered in order to get paid. And that's a risk to the buyer's brokerage, and it's one, I guess, the buyer's brokerage decides whether or not they want to bear. The question then evolved into, well, what if the commission being offered is less than what's designated in the buyer-broker agreement? Well, per the language in the buyer-broker agreement, buyer would be responsible to make up the difference. However, can a buyer's brokerage forgive that amount? Yeah, sure. It's up to them, right? It's just business. So, and that happens probably frequently. And, but this is part of the whole conversation we need to be having about commission with buyers and sellers. And that is, listen, yeah, if we decide on if you land on a home that doesn't have a commission attached to it, this is what I'm expected to get paid. And then, but if there is something offered, it's offset. And then if it doesn't match up perfectly, you have that conversation. But you've already kind of had that conversation a little, at least alerted the buyer that here's how this works. So that's a little explanation of how that blank works, why it's there, how it's different than the BAC offered through the MLS. Hopefully that all makes sense to you. Remember, this is not specific legal advice. This is legal information only. If you need specific legal advice, please contact your attorney. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions for us, please put them in the comments section.